G'day, Instagram. Another live, collab live on the This Won't Last series today, or tonight, better I say, bad England. I have Leah Steele, who is the wealth witch. I am super excited to talk all things money, spirituality, astrology, and purpose of Leah. You have just come on, Leah at the top, it will say request to join live with Paisley Hart. Press that button as I patiently wait. Alright, I think Lee's taking a moment to figure it out, so I'm just gonna talk my shit. One little ritual I have before coming on is, oh my god, Bali internet changing locations. What does that mean? What does that mean? Before I come on every time, I put coconut oil in my beard. This is any men watching or women that want their men to have beards. Coconut oil is the secret. At least it's my secret. Cause now I get a nice, thick, luscious beard. Um, Leah, what's going on? Did you figure it out? When you go in, scroll up through the comments and at the top it should have a button to go request to go live. Um, give it a shot. Just changing rooms. Alright. What else can I tell you? Today I went to the gym for the first time since I went to the desert, so I'm quite wrecked. I hear Leah went to Muay Thai today and busted up her knee, so we're going to be two sweaty messes in the sorrows of exercise. Anyone that's watching, just for now, I would love if you had any questions about purpose, spirituality, astrology, and money. I would love for you to shoot through some questions now. I have a few that have already been given to me, but if you have any, let us know now and I will ask Leah. She is the queen of these topics, so get in, get some good advice. Let's do it. As we wait for Leah. I feel like I should have some stand up comedy prompts, but I got nothing for you. What can we talk about? Do you want to see something cool actually? Once upon a time, me and my friend Georgia Frew made this, and I wear it on my head sometimes. I made it one time I was going on tour with the Viking N3 and I had to DJ for him as the budget was small. So I had to manage and here we go, Leah's requested to go in. I just accepted your request. You should be coming in any minute, Leah. Um, this is like the night before Shamk transmission of the night.
Hello.
Hey, Leah.
Okay, so I had to get out of
The
bed.
red.
I was in bed. I was in bed and I had to get out of bed because the interwebs were not communicating.
Well, yeah. What's going on? I've never seen you not do a live from bed. This is a whole new location. What's going on?
I know. It's not okay. I'm really upset about it. But
so,
Ollie,
so am I.
I was totally set up in bed where my leg could be elevated because I totally jacked it up in Muay Thai. But I can't live stream from bed because the internet's
What?
not working in there.
I frequently see you on the internet, ragging on the Bali internet.
Bali internet is not what's up. It's about the only part about Bali that's not what's up, but it's not what's up. I like
You
cutting
should
off my skin. Hold on. Okay.
you should invest in some kind of internet company out there in Bali.
Bali Telecom. Good business. Or horrible business decision, because I think
But yeah, also that. Hey, just speaking of business decisions, do you know what? This is going to be just quite a weird thing to start this off with, but do you know what I always think of that I feel like someone else should create and then just give me 10% of the profit? Or maybe it already exists, is I can't believe I'm asking you this. Have you ever gone to the toilet and wiped with like a baby wipe or a makeup wipe before?
yeah.
And it's like it's so incredible. And I just feel like they need to make some kind of like toilet paper that is the equivalent of that that's good for the ecosystem because that
Okay, but they have
actually
it, but it's not good for the ecosystem. In
yeah.
America, like, this is all the rage. Like,
Okay.
these these wet wipes for adults. Jack is screaming in the background. Can you hear him? He's screaming
Hi
for the house.
Jack.
He's dictating in the background. Um, he's being a tiny dictator. Yeah, so these wipes for adults, like, they're all the rage in America, but I don't think that they're good for the environment. So
No.
your bit about it being good for the environment, but yes, it's a very pleasant experience. I would prefer to wipe with wet wipes all the time, if possible.
I think about it a lot. This is what I think about before I go to bed. I'm like, imagine if there was eco-friendly wet wipes for going to the toilet.
Well, look, it's old. I'm certain that the ones in America are not eco-friendly. So I feel that maybe you should find somebody and do this thing.
Well, hopefully someone that's listening to this either now or later will be the person that can do that and then just slide up in my DMs, we'll cut a deal, and then you go off and do what you got to do.
Awesome.
Which I'm just going to transition straight into a question that's from someone because so the reason I'm not doing it, I just feel like it's not my purpose to go out and create this. But someone had a question for you with how do you know the difference between a hobby, a fun distraction, and purpose? How do you know the difference between those three?
Would you do it every single day for free? And are your friends and family so fucking sick of hearing you talk about it that they can't shut you up? So that I always tell my clients, I'm like, first of all, purpose for me is like, you have to find the thing that you would do every single hour of every single day for free. Hobbies generally you get bored of. For me, it was like I knew that I had found my purpose when it was all I wanted to do. I mean, I will still literally now, like, my husband has to be like, okay, hey, remember me? Like, let's go out on a date.
No.
Because I mean, your purpose, when you truly find your purpose, and I don't know, maybe you feel this way too. Like, I feel like when you truly find your purpose, you are obsessed with it.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I fully agree. Especially, from the hobby thing, like, because I was like, what about hobbies? Because you do them every day, but I feel like hobbies do pass, but a hobby will either finish or it will turn into a purpose.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I mean, I think many people have, I don't know. I feel like a hobby is something you do for fun. And I feel like purpose is something that you have no choice but to do. Like, no matter how much you try to fight it, no matter how much you try to do something else, like, and usually purpose isn't all fun either, right? Like, usually it's like there's some really great parts about it, and then there's some really fucked up parts about it that, like, usually you don't want to do and you have massive resistance to. A hobby to me is like, I need to find a hobby. I would love to have a hobby right now. You know
Me
what
too.
I mean?
I'm often wishing I had a hobby. It's frustrating that I don't have something that I can just take my mind off. Actually, recently I have started a hobby. I went out and started shooting hoops at like a basketball court at like 10 o'clock at night when no one's around because I'm really bad. I have to just shoot hoops and it takes my mind off things for a while.
So that's amazing. And do you feel like you're building discipline while you're doing that?
Yeah, well, the thing is
Because
I
I could
find it
like
so
go
hard
into
to
this whole
not
thing right now where I think like you're actually like fulfilling your purpose
and,
by shooting
and
hoops at
fulfilling
night.
my purpose. That's what's annoying. It's like, oh, kind of because I go out there and I'm like, yeah, I'm shooting hoops, and I'm like, I'm practicing getting good at something. Where else do I need to do? I'm like, shut up, just enjoy shooting hoops for the moment.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess I could say like Muay Thai's become a hobby for me. Like but I'm getting obsessed. I'm like, oh my god, I can't do anything without getting obsessed. I love it so much, but it's more like it's that rigorous physical activity for me. But I came home the other day and told Sean, I'm like, I think I want to fight. Like, I think I want to actually have a fight and like fight someone.
Yeah. Yes. Awesome. I
Rumble,
vote yeah.
Rumble in the Jungle with Leah Steele.
And
Everyone will have to come
has
to
to be
Bali
done
for that.
on a live stream. It has to be done. And
Totally.
like maybe on a live stream, you know when they go, the boxes go in the corner, and you're gonna have to like have a pep talk with your live audience in between the rounds.
Totally. Let's do it.
All right, so just to, I guess, I just threw you straight in. Let's reel it back a little bit. I'd love to just hear, I guess, like your equivalent of your keynotes, like who you are, how you ended up doing what you do, and a little spill on, I guess, just that circumference of what we're going to talk about: purpose, money, spirituality, and astrology. Hey, Potsy.
Yeah, so I'm Leah Steele, aka the Wealth Witch. I live in Bali, Indonesia. We moved here a year ago this week with our family. My husband and I moved our kids across the world from America.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, how did I get here? How did I get to this place? I had the first half of my life had really, really amazing experiences in entertainment, in the entertainment world, entertainment industry, in marketing and business development, and ended up in addiction treatment, which was the family business, and started my own addiction treatment programs that were really, really successful. And then until they weren't.
Sorry, just addiction on like
Addiction treatment.
people.
So substance abuse treatment.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
So I had sober living homes and an outpatient treatment program. And I
Wow.
did that for a lot of years. And I was really successful at it. And then started having my spiritual reawakening and realized that I was fucking miserable. And called in Kali. And literally my entire fucking universe imploded. And I lost my business. And I lost $3 million. And I ended up $1 million in debt. And we lost our house. And we lost a car. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go all in on my spiritual business, which I had been doing part-time at the time that everything collapsed, because I had discovered that I was unhappy and decided to like start doing things. I had figured out what my purpose was, and I had started doing my purpose work, but I was also still running this addiction treatment business at the same time. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go all in on my spiritual business. And then I met this dude named Dane Thomas in America.
Yes.
And Dane Thomas is the founder of The Spiral, and we're both spiral practitioners. And I met Dane, and he took me through some clearing the weekend that I met him. And I was like, I don't know what this spiral thing is, but I'm going to be a practitioner and like give me all the Dane things. And then I went through the spiral. I moved my whole family to Bali. We sold everything we owned. We moved to Bali. And my business just really, really took off. And for me, it's always really been about that. I don't believe that how do I phrase this? I feel like within the spiritual community, there is a really fucked up collective consciousness around purpose has to equal poverty. And that in order to do our purpose work or to be on purpose, we have to be fucking poor and broke. And I think that's boring. And I think it's not true. And I know it's not true. And so I sort of went on this mission to prove that purpose actually gets to equal prosperity, and that spirituality and being wealthy are not even on the same fucking pole. So like, why are we trying to create polarity an either or between two things that aren't even on the same pole. So as I stepped more and more into my purpose, I realized that what I'm here to do is to activate the people on this planet that are the change makers and empower them to go out and do their purpose work and be wildly financially abundant doing it. Because the more money that they're making, the greater impact they're having in the world and the more people they can help. So
Fuck yeah.
that's what I do, I guess.
Awesome.
And then a bunch
Awesome.
of weird like galactic shit tied in you know,
Yeah.
in
That'll
between.
That'll come. Well, I love that hero's journey to go like winning, fucking buzz, bad, and then skyrocketing forward. And actually, on that note, have you got your gin with you?
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers. So I'm drinking Wint and Lila gin, which I don't know if you've had it. I don't know if you're even a gin person, but it's amazing.
I'm not even an alcohol person, but I just said I'd pour up a drink because you were having a drink.
Well, I'm having a drink. I'm a gin person. I love gin. Like if I'm going to drink, I'm going to drink gin. And we discovered this really amazing gin when we were in Kuala Lumpur a few months ago. And so I'm having gin to help with the knee pain.
With the knee. I think one of the coolest things to jump into first, and something I don't really know much about, but I've definitely heard through the grapevine, is a lot of my following come from the music industry with me and people that are looking to get into the music industry. And I hear you used to work in the music industry and maybe even worked with Aaliyah at one point.
No, I didn't work with Aaliyah. I didn't work with Aaliyah, but so what happened was I worked in the music industry in New York, and I did promotion and grassroots marketing for new artists, new and upcoming record labels and artists. And this was one of the former life marketing business development jobs, right? Before the addiction treatment thing. So I worked with a company called Blackground Records, helping them promote their new artists. And Blackground Records was owned by Aaliyah's uncle, and it was the record label that they started for her. And so they were opening an office in Los Angeles. So they had their label in New York, and they were opening an office in Los Angeles. And they had asked me to come on as the assistant marketing director for that label. And so I had come home I had left New York, come home to Utah for 3 months. And the way that this whole thing happened was nuts because I worked in Wall Street. So I worked on a street called John Street in Wall Street. And I moved home on August 31st of 2001.
Yes.
2001? Yeah. September 11th was 2001, right? Yeah. I moved home on August 31st, and September 11th happened, and the building that I worked in is no longer standing. And then shortly after, she died in a plane crash, and they didn't open the LA office.
Damn. Okay. Well, that's a fucking just I love people that just have so many flavors of a past life, you know, that you're just like, oh shit, you know, this and this and just like, you know, I guess being Australian and like you've come from the States and just how different the culture is. Like I just had a session with someone and like he said, like he's like, I do a 1-for-1 integration tasks and the thing was for he was doing some money thing. He's like, make money, but he's very like holds it with him. And I was like, buy something that's like unnecessary for you, that you would consider unnecessary. And he's like, all right, cool. Actually, there's a handgun that I wanted to buy and I might go get that. And to me, I'm like, you know, being professional, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, what the fuck? Because I'm just not used to someone just being like, cool, I might just go buy a gun. That's just not happening over here. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, if that's what you feel like you gotta do, go.
That totally sounds like something I would say. I would be like, oh yeah, this is a handgun that I've been wanting. I'm gonna go get that. Yeah, cultural differences, right? It's been so crazy since being on in this part of the world to notice all of them, and it's just stuff that like we take so for granted, I think, as Americans and also like as Australians, right? We're so
Mm,
different.
mm. So crazy. Um, like a massive thing, like you've said just in your little keynotes there, is like spirituality doesn't have to have a poverty consciousness like a lot of people seem to take on. And for anyone watching, like even like since I've been back from the desert, money has been a bit like, ooh, like I need to get back on top of that. And I did a session with Leah a week or two ago, and like since then I've already made $7,000 in sales. Like, and it's just that easy, you know, like
Yeah.
just to go through the steps. And I'd love for you to sort of do two versions of breaking down um the spirituality and money consciousness. But I'd love for just like a bite-sized part, like what is like a, I guess like a 5 or 6 step or something like that, whatever you believe, to go from like poverty mentality to getting some money in your life. Just like a short step so people can go, okay, and then give a bit of a drawn out version.
Yeah, I suck with the like 5-step things. I know you're always trying to get me to do 5-step things. He's always trying to get me to do like, do your 7-step thing, like plan to this, and your 5-step plan to this. I'm like, then I start talking and there's like 27 steps. So I'll try to do my best. So I think the first thing is like the first thing in all of this is just fucking decide. Like decide that you are done with your current existence. Like I call it living in Mediocreville. Like, are you done with Mediocreville? Like, it's not fucking exciting there. It's like, be done with it and decide.
Mm-hmm.
And
Cool.
decide in a way that, you know, and so often this has to come on the heels of like something really shit happening to us, right? Where we're like, fuck this shit. So it's either, you know, it's like have your fuck this shit moment is maybe number one. So
Number
that you
one.
can decide.
Yeah.
And in the deciding, it has to be powerful enough that there's no other fucking option. There's no plan B. Because as long as you have a plan B, plan A is never going to fucking happen. So
Okay.
you have to get yourself energetically on board with deciding that you are done with your current reality.
Mm,
And then
cool.
from that point on, it's, you know, for me, it's mindset, right? Like it is.
But step 2 is the mindset.
Yeah, mindset work.
Cool.
So, and for me, that looks like journaling and meditation. Like those are the two that I would say if you're just starting out, journal and meditate. And journal and meditate with intention
Mm-hmm.
that you're going to shift
Yeah.
your circumstances.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that people really take for granted that the act of deciding. It's like we have all these tools and we have all these things. You know, we have emotional clearing. We're both emotional clearing practitioners. And you know, I'm constantly talking with my clients that are emotional clearing practitioners. And I'm like, look, emotional clearing is amazing, but you sometimes forget the power of you actually deciding that you want to change something.
Yeah.
So the mindset work is what you do to back up the decision. It's what you do to continually remind yourself of the decision. It's what you do to, it's how you energetically back the decision is through the meditation and the journaling.
Cool. Nice.
And, you know, in the journaling, there's so many different things. There's so many different components of that, or can be. But the biggest thing I think is that you know, I'm not a fan of like doing affirmations and being like, I am a billionaire. I am, you know, infinitely wealthy. I'm like, because you can't fucking energetically get behind that. So it's journaling about something that you can energetically get behind. So right now it may be, you know, for you, it may have been like, I'm going to make $10,000 of sales in the next 2 weeks or in the next whatever, you know, and it's like, you're like, okay, that's a stretch, but I can get behind that. And then you're going to journal about that every day. And you're going to journal about why you want that. And you're going to journal about how that's going to make a difference in your life and how that's going to make a difference in your, if you have, if you are in a relationship where you have a family, then you're going to journal about how that's going to make a difference in your family, then in your extended family, then in your community, then in your extended community, and then the world, right? So for me, manifestation and calling in these things that we desire, and what, we're talking about wealth right now, but calling in money and things we desire, when we have a service component, when we know what the ripple effect is going to be from us out into the world, it's so much easier to manifest. So I guess I would call that then it would be the next step would be like, what's the why? Figure out the why.
Cool. Yeah.
Look at me, I'm already on 4 steps, but I've actually given 27.
I'm writing them down as you go so we can just quickly recap them at the end.
Okay. And then this is the difficult one. This is the one that like people, get the shits about because they're like, Leah, how do you do this? Detach from the outcome. So I call this like holding on loosely. I'm like, picture you're holding a tiny baby bird. You're not like fucking squeezing it, right? Like you're holding it gently in your hand. You're not crushing it. So hold on loosely. But there is, hold your little money bird. There is this part about detachment that it is the key to manifestation. It's like releasing the outcome, releasing your attachment to the outcome.
All right. So detach from the outcome and be open to what it needs to be.
Yeah. So for me, it's like I'm constantly affirming and reaffirming to myself that the universe is always conspiring in my favor. I'm always making the exact right decision and everything is always working out for me perfectly. And so if I truly believe that everything is always working out for me perfectly, which I do because it's been shown to me time and time again, even in the most fucked up time of my life when I lost $3 million, ended up $1 million in debt, lost a house, lost a car, I honestly can look back on that today and say it's the best thing that ever fucking happened to me. So I believe that the universe is always conspiring in my favor. I believe that because I live a soul-aligned life, that everything that happens is in my favor and that I'm always making the right decisions. So if I believe that, then I can completely surrender the outcome of the thing that I desire to manifest because I know that the universe will deliver me that or something better. And in almost every single scenario, it's something better.
Yeah. All right. So just to, I guess, to play devil's advocate of these steps is, say I'm someone that's not super into spirituality. Right there. So far the steps we have is fuck this shit, mindset meditation, creation journaling, having the why, and then detaching from the outcome. What about actions of like, and do 20 calls for sales a day or whatever? What's the action?
So for me, it's all about inspired action. And I talk about this a lot with my clients. So the number one thing I do when I work with people is help them get connected to their higher self and to whatever they believe, source, God, goddess, universe, fucking creator, all that is, whatever it is that they feel is out there.
Yeah.
And in there, right? Because for me, like one of the biggest shifts that I'm making right now is I used to have this like, oh, universe, deliver me this thing. And now I've had this huge awakening that it's like, oh, well, the universe is actually inside of me. The universe is inside of me as well as outside. So now I'm like, oh, universe, deliver this to me. Right?
Yeah. Nice.
So I feel like I totally just lost my train of thought. Just got caught up in the universe inside of me.
So you were going on about inspired action. Oh, see you later.
Oh, yeah, inspired action. So one of the first things I do with all of my clients is help them get this connection to their higher self. Because I truly believe that like the divine guidance is the most important part. Like being open and able to receive divine guidance that is whatever it is that bypasses your ego mind, your logical analytical thinking brain, the guidance that can come through so that you can actually take inspired action. That to me is the very most important thing. Because no, you can't just fucking decide you want something and write it down and then sit on your ass and eat bonbons all day. Like, it doesn't work like that. You have to actually take action. So that would be the last step, right? Inspired action. You have to take the action. But you can't just be like out there fucking willy-nilly taking actions because you decided it was the right thing to do. Like, you've got to create the connection so that you know what the right action is to take, so that then the universe can deliver for you.
So,
and I just use universe because it's universal, I guess, and it's, you know.
Cool. So it's like divine connection to inspired action.
Yes.
Awesome. So this is the bite-sized bit that I will post later on the stories. Is Leah Steele's way to make money through spirituality is step 1, fuck this shit. Step 2, mindset meditation. Step 3, creation journaling. Step 4 is figure out the why. Step 5 is to detach from the outcome. Step 6 is to tap into your divine connection and move from an inspired place, inspired action.
Yep.
And then you're going to be doing this. What up? What up, everybody? I'm rich.
Show me the money. Yep.
Show me the money. And you could be like me after working with Leah Steele and make $7,000 in sales in 2 weeks.
That's epic. I love that. I can't believe you haven't told me that before now. Were you saving it for this? Were you saving it for this live stream?
I was saving it. I was saving it.
I'm so excited. I love that. I love hearing that.
It's a live testimonial.
Yeah.
Two things I've got to say is, one, just for you because it's your first time on Instagram Live, is it goes for 1 hour and then it just cuts you off. It gives you 20 seconds. It's like it's about to cut off. And I know you and I can both just talk for days. So, and number 2 is, this is my 4th one. And I keep telling myself, all right, put a timer next to you so you know how long you're going for. And I still haven't done that. So at any moment, I'll be like, we have 20 seconds left. It was so good talking to you. See you, Leah. And it was cut off.
Okay, good. Awesome. Well, Mark Zuckerberg, if you're watching, and I know you are because you're constantly stalking me, I feel like, because you're trying to censor me all the time. I think we need to do something about this hour limit on Instagram Lives. That sounds ridiculous to me.
We just had a hey hi from, I'm going to do my best, Adela Mavic 200. Hey, Adela. That's a cool name if that's your name. All right, I have another question from a fan, a follower. Okay. I've sort of reworded it to make it shorter. Was, when you know your purpose and you're doing all the right things such as meditation, yoga, practicing manifestation, doing your gratitudes, and spending time with your family, but you're still stuck in a 9 to 5, what do you do?
Oh man, this is a good one, right? Because I feel like it's going to be good because my nose is itching. My nose always starts itching when the good stuff's coming through.
Hey.
This is hard, right? Like, this is really hard because we have to pay the bills, right? And we have, you know, many of us have responsibilities and families, and it's like, you can't just be like, oh, well, fuck all of this. I'm going to go like pursue my purpose and my dream. For me, calling in what you desire and getting really, really clear on what you want your life to look like. And so this looks like, oh, sorry, my low battery. This looks like looking out 18 months, right? Looking out 3 years, 5 years. Where do you want to be? And getting really clear in the intention of calling in the life that you desire. And this is where creation journaling comes in big time. It's like, what, in a perfect world, if you were to have a transition plan, what would it look like? How long would it happen over? You know, and many of my clients will be like, okay, 6 months, like I want to be transitioned out of my 9 to 5 in 6 months. And it's like, okay, well, what would that look like? What would that have to look like? So you have to decide, how much money would I need? You know, what is my spiritually based business or purpose work? How much money does it need to be bringing in on a monthly basis? So what would a transition plan look like? For the first 2 months, it would have to be bringing in this. For the next 2 months, it would have to be bringing in this. The next 2 months, it would have to be bringing in this. And then I could begin to transition out. I think that a lot of times when we're doing mindset work, we get really caught up in like the woo-woo-ness of it. And we don't look at the fucking practical shit, right? That like we actually, oh, we need a transition plan. Oh, you know, like we do have to pay the bills. We can't just quit our job tomorrow and then be like, universe, pay my rent. Because that normally doesn't happen. I mean, sometimes it does, but
Sometimes
it
it does.
usually won't happen month after month. So,
Yes.
yeah, I think like really getting clarity on, you know, when do you want to be out of the 9 to 5 and what would an ideal transition plan look like for you? And begin to call that in, begin to journal on that, begin to create that and manifest that transition plan.
Hell yeah, I love that. And I love, like, you know, it's good to hear, especially because sometimes I can't fully answer those because I don't have family responsibilities. For me, it's just like when I wanted to quit my job, I just quit it. And then, like, I can live in the back of my car if I want to or whatever, you know, but I have that freedom, but that's still not responsibility at the same time. So it's good to hear the responsible version of that.
Yeah. I mean, look, you can just be like, fuck it and jump off the cliff. And that's trial by fire. I mean, I do a lot of things that way, right? Like I sold everything I own and moved to Bali sight unseen. We'd never been here with my family, with my 4-year-old. He was 3 at the time. So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not always the super responsible one. I am absolutely, like, I always say I'm the divine's bitch. If the divine gives me an instruction, like, I go do it, no questions asked.
Yeah, well, that's, like, I did a post on it yesterday, and it was commit first and figure the rest out later. Like, just do it, and then just whatever's got to happen, just you'll figure it out. Like, just move. To me, like you said, is like, it's listening to the divine, and you can fight against it or you can dance with it. You know, that's my thing, is like, if you just listen, it's a fucking dance with the universe and you're moving with it. And when it gets jarring, it's because you're acting from a place of scarcity or a place of like not integrity, you know? And that's how I feel like it works, is when you're not listening, it's jarring, and when you are, it's a beautiful fucking dance of just magic. It's something out of a Disney movie.
Yeah. If you're the villain. I like the Disney villains.
My favorite villain is still the Joker from Batman. I'm not even into Batman. I only watch for the Joker. And I've actually always had a thing for the villain. And but the bad thing is like, I've always just been like, oh, the good guy's too mainstream. It's my inner rebel, you know, my niche.
Bali motorbikes. Sorry.
Hey, speaking of motorbikes, just a side promotion for me. The next person I'm getting on is like a professional motorbike rider who's a stunt double for Vin Diesel. I'm so excited to get that one happening.
That's rad. I'm gonna watch that. I can't wait.
But yeah, you better tune in. So astrology. I wanna have a bit of a chat about that because, you know, I don't know if you're like claiming. Actually, one thing I just want to rewind there is creation journaling, and I'm pretty sure this is a massive thing about you. You're really about creation journaling, and I'm pretty sure I maybe looked at your website once, and I have looked at your website before, but I've seen that you maybe have either a low-end product or even a free product about creation journaling, and I feel like we've covered it a few times here, and I'd love for you to just give that opening to that service there.
Yeah, I have a class. I have a one-off class called "If You're Not Journaling Like a Boss Witch, You're Probably a Broke Bitch." So that's the
Amen.
class.
Amen.
And I think it's like $44 or something, 44 US. It's a great class to like introduce you to creation journaling. And then I have a 7-module. This is literally like 9 hours of content. And you get 45 journal prompts delivered over 90 days of my favorite creation journaling prompts. I have that. It's a course. It's all pre-recorded. It's ready to watch, called the Boss Witch Journaling Course. It's on my website. You can just go to www.theleahsteele.com, go to offerings, and it'll take you to, there's like 30 things on there, but the Boss Witch Journaling Course is the course. It's 222 US. And then there's the class. If you're not journaling like a boss witch, you're probably a broke bitch.
Hey, that is the best title ever. Yeah, well, actually, that's a double-sided thing I want to talk about. Then is astrology and numerology, because like everything for me, there's a skeptic in me. You know, there's always a fucking skeptic, but there's also that guy that my skeptic is like a 5 or 10%, and the rest is like, yeah, this shit's fucking real, man. And I'm sure there's people that will either be on either side of those spectrums that are going to watch. For me, the time that really fucking just changed things was this time last year. I was super depressed. Just fucking weird shit was going on, especially being a Cancer and going into Cancer season. And I was like, man, I was like in a very gray area of my life. But then fucking the Lionsgate started opening into Leo, and my whole life, just like the day that it changed, was just like, woohoo, I'm back, baby. And I was like,
because you have all the Leo in your chart.
I also have Leo in my chart. But it was crazy, and I get scared, like coming up to winter, and I'm like, Cancer's coming. I'm like, oh no, just like, I'd rather not believe in it. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna get depressed again. But I know you're pretty tapped in on it in our session. You really broke down some really cool stuff for me. I know some of the other girls that you mentor, and they've even more got into it as of recent around astrology and star signs and numerology. And I hang around with some of them, and they're really giving me bits and pieces. I'm like, oh, damn. And where's this coming from? They're like, from Leah. I'm like, all right, cool. I need to have a chat with this Leah. So I guess, like, I don't really even have a specific question. I'm just like, tell me the things, like astrology for dummies.
Oh my gosh. Well, there's so much. So as you know, like I'm really, really into human design, which is based on a lot of things, but astrology is one of them. So I'm really into living your design. And if you don't know what your human design is, you can go to www.jovianarchive, JOVIAN archive.com and pull your chart. So, and figure out what your human design is. And then just start Googling that shit, because there's tons of stuff on the interwebs about it. It is a bit of a science, but you can at least get an idea of what your design is. So I'm really into living your design. I love numerology and I love astrology. So something you may not know about me is that I'm probably 70% skeptic, 30% all in.
All right.
Like, I need shit to be like, for me at least, right, in my life, I need it to come in and have like, I have to have so much evidence of it working in my life before I'm willing to share it with my community or with the people around me. So I'm quite skeptical. Now, having said that, it's like, I believe everything exists, but until I've seen it or it's been proven to me, you're not going to hear me talking about it or teaching about it. So that's kind of how I operate. So I don't know, like there's so much I could tell you. I think what's important that I would love to tell you, everyone right now that's watching, is that we're getting ready to we're coming up on Mercury Retrograde, which Mercury is going retrograde on July 7th. So Mercury has been in Cancer until recently, until I think the 26th or the 20, and on the 26th to the 27th, Mercury goes from Cancer to Leo. And Mercury in Cancer is a whiny little bitch. So Mercury's all about communication. And so we've all just been like, I don't know, like if you've been scrolling Facebook lately or Instagram lately and just been like, everyone's fucking whiny and being little bitches, this is why. So
I hear that.
But on the 26th or the 27th, I don't even know what day it is right now.
I think it is the 27th now.
Okay. So
27th today.
Okay.
So we are in Cancer season,
Mercury
right?
has entered into Leo. So this is awesome because this is like, now it's our time to shine. And I think you actually have Mercury in Leo, right? In your chart?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, you're right.
If I don't see you on the interwebs telling everyone how amazing you are for like the next 7 or 8 days, I'm going to be really disappointed in you. But
all right,
so,
I'll just write that down. Tell everyone how amazing I am.
Yes, Mercury in Leo is all about like shining through communication, telling everyone about how brilliant we are, how much we shine, how great we are. And so there's a short window though, because Mercury retrograde's coming and then Mercury's retrograding back into fucking Cancer. So it's like between now and the 7th, everyone needs to get out there, get their message across, tell everyone how amazing they are, shine your light as boldly and as brilliantly as you can. When it comes to communication and sharing your message, right? Like get your message out there, share your message, because then you're going to be a whiny little bitch for a little bit again.
Damn. So my birthday is July 8th, so my birthday is going to be Cancer retrograde, Mercury retrograde. That's going to be so fun.
And so the other thing to know about Mercury retrograde is like, this is the time when everybody's like, oh my God, all like travel issues, communication between people, but also like technology goes haywire. So the tips that I will give you is that Mercury retrograde, I also happen to have a class called Make Mercury Retrograde Magical.
Hey, I love that.
Mercury retrograde, that wasn't even planned. Mercury retrograde is a really great time to reevaluate things that are going on in your life. And it's an amazing time for productivity. So don't believe all the hype about Mercury retrograde being horrible. Yes, technology tends to be fucked. Like your phones won't work, your computers will break down. So my biggest advice is revisit things. Mercury retrograde's all about the rework, revise, revisit. So look at old things that you haven't finished that need to come into completion. If you've got offerings or you've got messaging or you've got things that don't really seem like they're sticking, go back and rework them during this time. Reevaluate things. Old lovers often contact you during Mercury retrograde, revisiting, right?
Yeah.
So, and yeah, and in Cancer, it's going to have a lot to do with our emotions, right? So, but it's a great time for productivity. So I really, so it's going to, and it will, so it's retrograding back into Cancer, and then it will end off actually in Leo. So the end of it actually is going to be this like real push, which will be beautiful. Like ending Mercury retrograde in a fire sign is always really good because it means that like the time period right after is highly productive.
Cool. So just a bite-sized thing is how to survive Mercury retrograde is to not believe the hype of everything, but be aware of your technology and then everything, such as work, relationships, and creation. There's going to be a recycling, a reevaluation, a redo of all these things, and you've got to be having your awareness around these in Mercury retrograde.
Yes, and my number one tip for survival is don't buy any electronics, don't buy a new phone, don't buy a new computer, don't buy any major appliance, don't buy a car, like don't fucking buy anything that has technology in it, because it will be a lemon and you will regret it.
All right. Maybe that laptop that I bought when I came back was in retrograde.
Maybe.
When was the last? When was that last? When was the last Mercury retrograde?
So they happen 3 or 4 times a year. 3 or 4 times a year.
All
I
right.
don't know why I can't remember that right now.
I remember the first time it was
I think it's
introduced
four
to me.
times a year.
My old business partner, he was like, we had like this big thing coming up. We had a tour to announce, a single to release, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going along as it is, setting everything up. And he's like, stop. Last night I read about this thing, Mercury Retrograde. We can't do anything. And I'm like, what? Like, what are you on about? And he's like, yeah, we can't. But we're going to have to shift the dates. I'm like, what? I set up everything. We got this, we got that. I'm so ready. And he's like, no, we can't. And I'm like, shut the fuck up with this Mercury retrograde, whatever that means, I don't know. And then that was when it was introduced to me. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have a look at this thing. But yeah, with Mercury retrograde and astrology and all that, my favorite part of it is just the memes. I love the memes, astrology memes. They're the best thing on the internet, I swear.
Oh, so good.
That's how I learn about astrology. I'm like, oh, Cancer trait in a meme version. I understand that.
They've been helpful. They are helpful for learning. It is true.
um, so I wanna, I guess, ask, especially you've said a couple is like, you have this, if you're not journaling like a boss bitch, boss witch, then you're a broke bitch, and like you have the things, how to survive a Mercury retrograde, and all these different things. They're quite spiritual and woo woo and whatnot. Is I guess the dogma, and I guess like the snake oil salesman stigma is. What's your stances on making money in spirituality?
Well, I mean, the thing that I think I say all the time is I think all the fucking spiritual people need to come down off their cross already and just go fucking make some money. Like, we martyr ourselves into like poverty and brokenness. And I'm just over it. I'm so sick of it. I think that we have these amazing, beautiful gifts that we've been given, and these messages that we're meant to share with the world. And we deserve to be wildly financially compensated for sharing those gifts and sharing those messages. And
Wildly, I like that.
Wildly, yeah. And money is a fucking neutral resource that is here for us to use to our benefit. It's it's an ally. It's something that we should be able to leverage in our highest and best interest. It isn't this evil, mean thing that we've been programmed to believe it is. And so, yeah, for me, it's just like, the majority of the work I do these days is about deconstructing programming and conditioning around money beliefs. And, the shit that we've been told since we took our first breath on this planet about greed and money and desire and deserving and worthiness. And I just think it's all a bunch of bullshit. So I want people to know that they can follow their bliss, that they can do their purpose work, and also live the life that they deeply desire. And if that is, and that's different for everybody. Everybody has a different idea of what that is, but I feel like everybody should be free to use money for what it is, which is this beautiful neutral resource that's there for us to use as leverage.
Fuck yes. I'm with you. And just to get fully into the spots that people go to is, if you believe in spirituality and you want to heal everyone else, why don't you do it for free?
Yeah. Well, because I desire to live a life of luxury, because I'm ridiculously talented. I'm fucking amazing at what I do. And I'm changing lives and impacting this planet. And I deserve that. I believe that I deserve to be paid for that. But the other thing is like, I don't assign, I think that like, there's this thing where we are assigning a negative connotation to money, right? Like that somehow it would be bad for us to be paid for sharing our gifts.
Yes.
Like the only reason why we wouldn't want to be paid is if we felt like there was something wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I just don't believe that that's the case. There is enough money on this planet to go around. And when we truly decide to believe that and buy into that, especially as spiritual leaders or as people in the spiritual community, those are the people that have the ability to create global impact when it comes to things like poverty, right? When we actually begin to deconstruct the programming that is what keeps us in our caste and class systems, and we begin to break down the walls around that not being true, and we begin to give mindset and belief to impoverished communities that they have the ability to earn and receive and make money, then we begin to shift things. And the fact of the matter is, I do a fuck ton of stuff for free. I do a lot of stuff for free, and I make really good money for some of the other stuff that I do. Yes.
Well, that's what, like, you know, I love is like, we have social media, and though what we talk about does make us money in some essence, you know, there is like a non like immediate ROI on our shares, but just by sharing what we know on social media is giving our services for free, I believe.
Yeah. And I do 1 to 2, 3 to 4 week group programs a year for free. Cool. I'm always doing free classes. You see me always doing free content and free classes. And I'll continue to do that because it makes me feel good. And I like to provide the knowledge and the wisdom to people, whether they have the ability to pay or not. And my time is very valuable. So if I'm working with you at certain levels and I'm giving of my time where I'm taking time away from my family, then I'm completely okay with people paying me for that. Right? Like,
yes. I feel like, so we're just going to continue going if you're cool, but I feel like any moment it'll get to the 1 hour mark. But one thing I love is right now you're saying like family and working hard, and like I do see you as someone within my community who does work a lot. Like you go hard as a motherfucker in your work, but you do it from quite a like relaxed, comfortable, luxurious way, you know, to what I see is like you work from a very beautiful bed, or you're like at a very nice cafe, or somewhere that's beautiful and serene and easeful. And it's like you make it look like it's not work, but you're doing it 24/7, you know, like you're around the clock. And even when you're doing a live, you know, your son's there with you and he's playing with trucks or transformers or something like that. And he's getting the transmission. I seen a video on your story the other day, and he talked, and I was like, "You've been around a lot of your mum's lives. You talk just like her." But yeah, I would just like to you talk to the stigma of hard work.
Yeah. So I mean, the truth is that I work hard. I work a lot. I work a lot of hours, and I'm quite dedicated to this mission and this message, right? Like, and so as a result, I do work very hard. And I work from my princess bed most of the time, or my beautiful villa, or wherever we happen to be vacationing, or, you know, whatever part of the world that I'm in, or from a beautiful cafe. And, you know, I have set my life up so that, you know, my community is completely aware of the fact that I have a 5-year-old and I have a 13-year-old, and my children are a big priority for me. So if Jack doesn't want to go up with Sean while I'm doing a live stream at night, he may be in bed next to me.
We hit the 25-second left mark. I knew it was going to happen. Thank you so much for all the knowledge and abundance of just giving and giving and giving. It's such a great time. Love you lots. I'm
Love
sure
you
we'll do it
too.
again.
All right, thanks for having me.
Bye.